so much. Okay, Carolyn Stich. How many do not know her? I have a few things to say about my friend. First of all, years ago, she gathered people from multiple cultures, multiple countries here in Holland, and then invited a few people to join her. And we met in the Arts Council. She provided lunch, and we all sat with people from everywhere in the world and got to talk to one another. And then we did an art project together. It was phenomenal. My day was perfect. Oh, wonderful. So hopefully you can raise your hand and say, I want to do that with you. That was my personal experience the first time with Carolyn Stich, besides knowing that she had her wonderful shop and wonderful art classes going on in her own studio. Recently, she drew with small children, 4 years old and up, a mural that covered a wall probably that large that describes Holland, our church, the playgrounds, everything that children love. And it's in Grace Episcopal Church now. And even though it was done with 4 and 5-year-olds, it's absolutely beautiful. So stop by our church sometime and have a look at it. It's great. You probably know that Carolyn, because it was in the newspaper, takes an interest in people and their homes. She started out years ago drawing homes that were for sale for the people who bought a new home here in Holland. And she gave that to them as they moved in. People in California lost their homes, and she has found photographs of what that home looked like and is drawing, along with a few other artists across the nation, the home as it was and giving it to the former owners. So that's really good. Also, we're all familiar with Refresh at the Methodist Church, where people who have no home can come and take a shower a couple times a week. And Carolyn has a heart for people. So she is engaging those folks while they wait for their turn in the showers. And she is providing an art experience for them. And that will happen day after tomorrow. Yeah. So I hope you have enough volunteers to help out. Okay. If it happens again, you might want to help volunteer. She has become a 2-time Tulip Time poster winner. And I'm just so pleased to know, that most of you probably were here living in Holland when both of those were available. So if you're new and you haven't seen her posters for Tulip Time, just drop by the office and ask them to show you one. Oh, and they might be in the slideshow today too, but it's always better to see it in person. She has produced, along with the longest serving mayor in Holland, whose name is Al McGeehan. She and Al McGeehan wrote a book together. Al wrote most of the history part, and Carolyn did the illustrations for this book about Native Americans in Michigan. That was a long time ago. Yeah, right. Since then, she has written 16 books for children, illustrated 16 books for children. Thank you. She's had her store here in Holland for over 20 years. I don't know why I think it's longer than I've lived here, but I've always enjoyed going in there. Let's see if there's something I'm missing. Yes, she is originally not from Holland, but I think she loves us. I'm not originally from Holland either. She's from St. Louis, and that's where she studied commercial art at Merrimack Community College before continuing her studies at the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga. In 1993, she and her husband moved to Holland, and they have two children, one of which was a Rotary exchange student to Germany. And she is one of my favorite stories to tell about, but that's for another day. Maybe we'll have exchange students come and talk to you someday. She works in her art studio and in her retail shop, which is right downtown on 8th Street still. So it's there. If you haven't been, make sure after this class that you go. And thank you, Carolyn, for being so patient for me. I guess I could explain why I'm so late. We're selling our house, and my husband and I were working on the numbers. So I'm sorry, the time just got away. Thank you. Welcome, Carolyn.
Well, thank you. Everybody can hear me. This sounds really loud. Thank you. Well, I'm Carolyn, and I'm so excited to be here. And I look out, and you guys are all my friends. So I find it a lot easier to talk to a bunch of strangers than to friends, but this is awesome. So thank you all for coming on this really, really nasty day. So, and thank you for all of those who are listening online as well. So today we're just going to talk about my journey as an artist here in Holland. It's been an amazing journey. I get emotional because I'm just the most luckiest artist in the world. I mean, an artist who can say that they've had the career that I've had? And as I was updating my PowerPoint here, I was recognizing and realizing all the people that helped me. So this isn't a solo act. It took a lot of folks to get me where I am. So anyway, we're going to get started. So welcome to An Artist's Mind. Enter at your own risk. I'm just telling you that. So it's not the normal mind, but it's worked for me. So let's see, how do we do this? Oh, yes. So this is the one quote that just describes the whole thing. I put my heart and my soul into my work, and I have totally lost my mind in the process. So that is Vincent van Gogh, and every artist can kind of relate to that. So, and there's evidence, if you talk to me more than 10 minutes, that this is absolutely true. So anyway, well, let's get started. So we moved here. This was only supposed to be a temporary gig for my husband in 1993. We were just going to move up here for a short time. I'm from St. Louis and he's from New Orleans. And so this is like the North Pole to us. And, but it took us maybe around a month or so to drink the Kool-Aid and realize we don't want to leave. And so our temporary stay has been over 30 years now. And so my background is I love architectural illustration. I just love to draw buildings and just the preciseness of it all. And so when I first got here, I wanted to introduce myself. I had two little kids. So I drew this, and I was only a pen and ink illustrator. I didn't know color. So I drew this image, and I looked at all of the books that I had of Holland and found all of the places that stood out at that time. And then I thought, the windmill was on an island. So if you notice, it's kind of like an island. And but it was only in black and white. And I took it to the Arts Council, which at that time was on 8th Street, and walked in and introduced myself as an artist. And Marcia Levency, I don't know if any of you asked, she was actually the one that was working there. And she said, "This is great. I mean, this is really nice, but do you ever do color?" And it's like, color? No, I've never done color. And so I threw the kids back in the car, ran to the art store and bought my first set of watercolor and went home and painted it overnight and brought it back to them the next day as this version, and introduced myself again as a watercolorist. And that's what we do as artists. We change, and it ended up on the front of the telephone book that year, and ended up in all different places. So who would have thunk that I am now known for my color, which is shocking to me. But so then shortly after that, we had the sesquicentennial of the town, and that was 1997, and there was a poster competition. So this is very old school, but this was my poster, and it actually won. So this is A Street, and it kind of, if you can see at the back end, that's what A Street used to look like. And then as it moved forward and as time went by, this is how it looks like now. So that was that. And that introduced me to, after I did this and won this, then I got a call from the Arts Council talking about a book that was being created for all the second graders. I think it was the second graders in Holland to learn about history. And so it was called Missing the Sea. And it was actually written by Carol Haverding. And then I illustrated it. And I've never really done a book before. So I was doing the illustrations. And it said, the ship that they came over on, and all this stuff. So not really being very familiar with research, I just drew a pretty ship. I mean, this is the first time I drew Big Red. So that was in the book. But unbeknownst to me, they took all of my artwork and brought it to expert in history, Miss Peg Van Grau here, who has changed my world. So I was very proud of my artwork, and I took it to her thinking that she's going to absolutely love it. She did, but none of it was accurate. Of course, you would want the actual ship that they came over on in the illustration, wouldn't you? So she pointed that out. I'm sure you remember that, Peg. And but let me tell you, she changed my world for the better, because she taught me things that it's like, of course, but this young artist just wasn't even thinking. I don't know if you remember this one, Peg, but I had these canoes in this drawing, and I had the safety bars across the canoes, because that's what I know. I hang on to the safety bars. But of course, the Native Americans did not put safety bars in their canoes. And so it was, I'm just forever grateful to Peg. And she's been a support. She supported my art ever since then. So thank you. Oh, it was the wigwam that yes, I forgot to mention. What do you think I had there? What, a teepee? I assumed all Native Americans lived in teepees. Did I do any research on this book? Absolutely not. So yes, you're right. So I truly am grateful to Peg, and every time I see her, she makes me smile, because it's like, and then I've done history. I've spoken. I spoke at the Michigan History Conference many times because of my books after this, and all the research. Because you have to keep in mind all the research that the author did. I am representing their work with my illustrations, and I have to do just as much research, if not more, than they do, just to make sure. Because those kids, that 10-year-old is going to notice the teepee and is going to say, what were they thinking? So I am grateful. So it's great to have you here, and thank you. So thank you. So this is a drawing. As you're an artist, you go through life and you are constantly learning. I think we all constantly learn as we go through life. But this was one of my lessons. This is a drawing that I did at the University of Tennessee. I was in an art class in the I was doing pretty well in it. In the final grade, the final test was you can draw anything black and white, just a black and white sketch, anything you want to, any size paper actually you want to. So this is what I drew. I pulled it. I was kind of proud of it. I thought, man, I nailed this. And they pull you up and they critique your work in front of the whole class. And so they're telling me, you can tell it's zebras. And they said, but there is no mystery, no story to this illustration. The zebras are smack in the middle of the paper. There's just no story to this. And so they gave me the lowest grade possible in front. Oh, yes. But I said, okay, that's not going to work. So if you recall, I said there was no rules on the size of the paper. So I said, could I have 5 minutes to fix my drawing and come back? They said, if you can fix it in 5 minutes, sure, go for it. So I ran to the nearest paper cutter and I cut my drawing in half, threw half of it away, and got back in line and showed them that the zebras are coming from off the page. And so we have no idea. There's a whole story of what was happening to them off the page. And so then I got the highest grade. So the lesson is go off center. I mean, it's okay to live life off center, but go off center with your artwork. And also don't care so much about your artwork that you're not afraid to just cut it in half. And so that was one of my lessons. So when I first started doing artwork, this is just one of the thrills of my life to work with Ray Vanderlaan. I have my illustrations on two of his videos. That was the reason I was doing it, is I was known for my architectural illustrations, and there are no pictures, of course, of what the buildings look like back during St. Paul time. And so I went to his home, and while I was drawing, he was explaining to me what he imagined the buildings to look like. So that was a lesson in itself, and I was honored to be there. I do have to say, he had this in his office, he had this big glass like bowl off the floor. It was about this big, and it was full of rocks. And he says every morning he takes a rock out, and he then as it gets smaller, or the amount gets smaller, that is the time he has left in his life, that his time is limited. And that freaked me out. All I could think of is coming down in the middle of the night and filling that thing back up with rocks, because none of us know the time, but to have a reminder every day in my office, I just couldn't do it. But I was honored to be on these two videos. So as she said, I've done 16 books. These are 15 plus the one that I did with Peg. And so I just finished The Pirate on the Roof last Friday, so that should be coming out. But I'm pretty honored to be chosen as the illustrator of most of these books, or all of these books, actually. So, and also when I first came here, I drew for Summit Properties. So these are some of the houses. I probably have drawn over 50% of the houses here in town. I just have drawn a lot of homes. But the deal with drawing homes is you can't use your imagination. The homeowners get upset if you change the windows, or if you change the front door. So I kind of wanted to go away from that a little bit. And also hi there, this was before computers. And then computers came, and then my job was done because you could do all this on a computer. And which was time to move on. This is my favorite drawing. People come into my studio and ask me, what is my favorite drawing or painting that I've ever done? This is probably one of them. This is downtown. I love our downtown. And so I did this a while ago, and this is just one of my favorites. So when I first was an artist, I was working out of my home. My kids went to Wakazu school. I used to be able to volunteer in their classes all the time. And then I drew all night. I don't sleep a lot, and which might explain a lot, but I draw till 2 or 3 every morning. And so if you can't sleep, feel free to call me. I'd love to talk to you and have a friend in the middle of the night. But I was so distracted with my chores, and this is when I first started. My office was above the apothecary, and we happened to come down to the windmill, my husband and I saw a for rent sign in that window up there, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. And it's like, and I kept on telling my husband, I really want to have an office downtown. And so he said, if you could pay for it yourself, go ahead. So I said, sure. So I moved into the upper office, the front office, the one that you can see. I met Sharon Fisher, who is the owner of the apothecary. And so I moved in, and I had no clue what I was doing. And quickly, within about maybe 5 days, I realized I'm not going to be able to afford this. What am I doing? So only about 2 months after I was there, I went to Sharon and said, I have totally lost my mind. I cannot afford this. I am a true believer in not being in debt. My whole life, I've never gotten myself in debt. But Sharon knew of my art, and just because of what I did in that last 2 months. And she said, I really believe in you. And which gets me emotional. But she said, I'm not going to let you leave. And so my rent up front was like $300 a month, super, super cheap. And she says, I believe in you. The guy in the back studio is leaving, and I think that you could do it here. You just need more room. So you should move in the back. And I said, you know what? I am not a math wizard, but if I can't afford this small little space, I am definitely not going to afford that space. And she said, I think you can. And she said, I won't charge you the full amount. I will only charge you the $300 for the small room instead of it was like $800 or $900. So I was there for 8 years, and she never upped my rent. I would go and I'd say, I can do it now. I can do it. And she'd say, no, I really want you to build your business. And so it's just people like that. So I get totally verklempt up here. So I apologize for that. But so anyway, the Sentinel comes to me and says, hey, we want to do this magazine. This wasn't long lasting, but we want to do these magazines, and we want you to do the artwork on the front. And it's like, great. And all the artwork in the magazine. And I said, super. They said, actually, we cannot pay you anything, which is what 99% of the people, and they still say this, we cannot pay you. But the exposure that you will get from this is worth more than anything. I said, fabulous, yes. So I run down to Sharon, my new bestie, and who I feel like she's my mother, even though we're only about 5 years apart. That just blows my mind. but I'm telling her about how awesome this opportunity is and this and that. And she said, so how much are they going to pay you? I said, that doesn't matter. It's the visibility and it's all that. She said, they're not paying you anything. I said, no, but that's all right. So then about an hour later, I get a phone call from the Sentinel. They said, you know what? We thought about it and we found some money and we're going to pay you this amount of money. It's like, crap, that's awesome. Sorry, but that's awesome. So I, like a proud hen, run downstairs to tell Sharon that guess what? They've decided to pay me. And she says, that's awesome, Carolyn. I'm really, really proud of you. So I'm walking back to my shop up or my studio upstairs. I run into her daughter, Jen, and it's like, Jen, you wouldn't believe it. She said, Carolyn, you do realize my mother called the Sentinel and she threatened to pull all of her advertising out of the Sentinel if they didn't pay me. And she would have done it. And so that was just, it was incredible. And here, so I'm very grateful to the apothecary, and when I moved, so I was upstairs, I was doing classes for Freedom Village. I was also teaching every week with the OAISD, the special needs adults who are awesome, but they couldn't get to my studio because there's no elevator and it's stairs up to the second floor. So I had to leave that space, but it was like leaving my family. It was worse than leaving my family when I left Jen. And I thought, Sharon, and I thought that would leave her, but she still comes into my shop at least once a month to tell me everything I'm doing wrong. And it's like, did you ever think? Did you ever think? And I just love the fact that she does that. And it's because of her and Peg and all these amazing people that I'm where I am. So the um the visitor center started doing Christmas cards. And actually, I was doing Christmas cards for myself, and I would put my kids in every card. And so I don't know if you can really see it, and I should have had it blown up. But the first one you see up there is Santa in the sleigh and over going in front of Big Red. And actually, my personal Christmas card had my two kids in the sled with Santa. And so then I get a call from the visitor center because one of them have seen that card. And they said, we would love you to draw the city's card. So, and then every year we'll donate all the money from the cards to a charity, a local charity. So that was the year 2000. And we have been doing it ever since. So, and we have donated to, and I get to pick the charity, which is awesome. So we've donated to everyone, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity as well. So these are just a couple. I have drawn Santa every which way you can think of in Holland. Is that the speaker making that noise, or is that, am I doing something? Okay. Okay. I just don't want to, do you guys hear that? Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, if you guys have any ideas of the next for Santa, I've drawn him 25 times now. He has done everything. So, and this is one that was kind of popular. This is Magic at the Mill. I'm embarrassed to say I actually haven't been there yet. Have all you guys been there? I know, it's shocking. Well, they said just go. They said you don't need tickets, just go. So I don't get the tickets. I'm just going to go. Well, I can't just go up and say, hey, do you know who I am? I just cannot do that. And so I've actually never been there because I cannot go up and say, I'm Carolyn and I should get free tickets. So Anyway, this is a recent drawing. I really do just do everything. I don't do anything on the computer. I just look at it off of photos and sketch. Warm Friends is celebrating their 100th anniversary, that building is. And so actually they're putting this on a beer can. So yes, go them. And that is what's the behind the Big Lake Brewery. Yes, they're putting, yeah. So I'm very excited. When I was doing this and drawing everything, everyone make sure get the beavers on top of the building. So they are up there. But I love our downtown. I love this. I don't know if you ever take time to look up, if you ever take time to notice, but we live in a really beautiful area. So these are just some I draw off of my photographs. So these are just some samples of that in just kind of a so in and it's kind of funny because I did get I do get notes from everyone, which I appreciate that. Elisa, who was the miller, called me and wanted to make sure I got all the detail correct on her windmill. So, and that just makes it better to get it correct. So this is a couple years old because she retired a couple years ago. So this is so of course, as you notice, it's going off the side. So we have that mystery. I learned my lesson. So I used watercolor at first. I hated watercolor. I don't know if y'all do watercolor, anybody? I hate the medium. So I did my first few children's books in watercolor. It just, we just didn't work well together. And so I was part of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And they invited one illustrator from every state to come and have your work critiqued in New York in front of the publishers and art directors. And so I was invited to New York as Michigan's artist one year. And I went there and I knew, I mean, what they were going to say, but it was a privilege to go. And you were in front of everyone. And in the life of the artist, you just have to learn how to take criticism. I mean, they pull these people up to the stage. They tell them, I don't think you're going to make it as an artist. It is brutal. It's Simon Cowell kind of brutal. So I went up there. I knew what they were going to say because I felt so uncomfortable as a watercolorist. And they looked at the books that I had and they said, you can draw. You can really draw, but never ever use watercolor again. And it's like, I know, but I don't know what to do. And they said use colored pencils. It's like colored pencils. I don't think so. But of course, I go to the art store and buy every colored pencil there is and realize quickly that is not my medium. So, but I didn't know where to go. An artist was moving out of their studio, and for some reason, every artist that moved out of their studio in Holland, for some reason, knew that they could bring all of their crap to my studio. I never mentioned that to anybody, but that was the rule. I got so much stuff and sad for them to close, but I got all their stuff. And in one of the boxes was this paint called gouache. And have you all ever heard of gouache? I'd never heard of gouache, but gouache is what children's illustrators used in the 1800s because it reproduces so well. And it's what, oh my gosh, my brain left me. Some of our masters use gouache. So it's a very old paint. I tried it. I absolutely fell in love with it. It is my soulmate, is gouache. Ever since then, I haven't touched that nasty watercolor. And I love to teach anybody who's listening about gouache. So the difference is watercolor soaks into the paper when you paint and you can't change it. Gouache, for whatever reason, sits on top of the paper. So if you don't like what you did, you can accidentally pour a whole glass of water over your drawing and all the paint goes away. It's just, it works with you. You can take it off and put it back on, take it off, put it back on. So I love gouache. So these are my ladies. So I was trying to get away from architecture. I wanted to do something with Big Red. Um, and I was having lunch with two of my good friends named Joy and Karen. And I said, I don't know what to do with, I want to come up with something clever with Big Red. And they said, well, you've never really drawn us before. And I have to tell you, they are not this size and they are still my friends, thank goodness. But I said, oh my gosh. So I ran home jokingly and drew this for them the next week and said, I figured out how to draw Big Red, us. And they laughed kind of not so much, but they love me. So I had this on my desk. Sharon from downstairs came up, and as she always does, she pops in my studio. She said, what is this? I said, well, this is kind of what I'm drawing now. She says, I love it. You have to make cards and I'll sell them downstairs. So I had no intention of being a store owner, absolutely no intention. But I kept on falling into this stuff. And she kept on saying, I can't take any more of your stuff. You have to open your own store. So these guys, and I just love, I mean, life can be pretty darn scary, especially now. Life is just so uncertain and scary, but there is joy in life. And I think my mission has always been to find the joy and to present it in color. This is the color of gouache. Color is just, to me, such a joyful thing. So these are my ladies. Um, I can draw almost anything except the face. I cannot draw faces. Please don't ask me to draw a face. So I was having the hard time with these ladies. It's like, you know what? We're just going to cover that face up. So that's why these ladies have hats on. Everyone, I mean, the better way is if I put a hat on, it could be anyone. So we're going to go with that. But the truth is, I can't draw faces. So these ladies have just had a great time. They have just really gone over the top. Uh, but the deal with the women, a gentleman came to my shop, and at this point I had a shop on College Avenue, and I was selling cards, and I didn't have a big display of cards, but he said, Carolyn, no man can buy this card for their wife. They will get in so much trouble. Girlfriends can buy it for each other, but no man. So I was losing half of my customer base. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have to change that. And so I thought everyone loves a good pun, and I love puns. And so I started drawing a pun every Sunday and putting it on Facebook. And I did that for over 2 years. And then, like Forrest Gump, I woke up one day and said, I just can't do it anymore. I just cannot come up with another pun. But I do love my series of puns, and guys love puns. And so they just kind of make us happy. And it's all about positivity. And I had one gentleman come in and he actually started, he teared up in my studio. And he said, he said, I wanted to be an artist, but I always thought that you had to draw serious things, that artists always had to draw dark, serious things. And he said, you are farthest from that. It was like, I don't know, you don't have to follow the rules. And so anyway, tulip time. So the the Oscar award, the Emmy award, the everything award, the ultimate award in Holland, Michigan, if you're an artist, is tulip time. It's a dream, and at least for me. So in 2015, I submit every year, but 2015, I won with this. And oh my gosh, so Gwen, the director, pulls you up and you're supposed to say a few words. Well, as you see, I get even verklempt, even talking to you all. I couldn't even say a word. And it just means that much to me. So there's that. I still try every year. So in 2019, this one, it was the 90th anniversary of Tulip Time. And the goal or the only rule was you had to use orange. And because orange is the color of Denmark. And I mean, no, not Denmark. It may be the color of Denmark, but it's also the color of the Netherlands. So sorry. Duh. I'm sorry. I have a an exchange student who I just talked to her. She lives in Denmark and she's quite curious what we're doing with Denmark now. But so yeah, so I was just talking to her. I don't have my card. Anyway, so the whole idea is to when you're an artist is to come up with something totally different. Like how do you get your mind to come up with something totally different? So I thought that I had I can't shoot. I I was gonna really impress you, but I can't. So I was playing euchre. How many people play euchre? Great game. I was playing euchre with my family, and I'm trying to come up with something for a design. For I mean, I'm constantly thinking in what? Oh, is there a message? Oh, sweet. Okay, thank you. Anyway, I was playing euchre with my family. And if you know me and if you know my family, I'm constantly thinking of what the next project is. I just can't turn my mind off. And so, and I wish I could, but we were playing euchre and I was noticing the bicycle cards. Do you know the bicycle cards? It's a beautiful symmetrical design on the bicycle cards. And I just zoned in on that and thought I could make a design, a symmetrical design with tulips. And I won't tell you if I was losing or winning that game, but I ended the game immediately typically and ran and created this all because of that playing card and just the symmetrical design and totally different. So this was chosen in 2019. Again, Gwen calls me up. I totally get emotional. She said, I'm prepared this time because I knew she was going to do that. And she had this little speech for me that she said. So that was kind of cool. This is this year's uh, entry. So I like I said, I enter every year. I mean, who knows? But I do love the one that was chosen this year. I do a lot of dog pets or dog. I can't draw people, but I seem to be able to draw animals. So this is somebody's dog named Clarabelle. They wanted her to be sitting in daisies. So here she is. And there's some more dogs. Um, I do just love color, which, we started out as a black and white illustrator, so this cracks me up. But I think God has a plan for us, and we have no clue what that plan is. So here we are. Um, so uh, the Hilton Hotel, the new Hilton Hotel here, the folks who were doing their interior design, they came into my shop one day, they were downtown, and they fell in love with my art. And they particularly fell in love with a drawing that I had of a big rubber duck in Mackinac, Lake Macatawa. And So they came and asked if I would do paintings for their conference room. So if you go into the new hotel, my art is in their conference room. And I'm doing two other hotels for them around the country. So they have a very funny sense of humor. So those are there. And also, they have one of my pillows in each one of their rooms. So that's kind of cool. So you just never know. But it's like, holy, do you want a duck? And so, but they love it. So I guess I couldn't talk about my whole journey without the whole cancer thing. So I've had cancer twice. I have conquered it twice, and not without a whole bunch of support and a whole bunch of amazing people in our community. So I'm sure at some point y'all have experienced Holland Hospital and all that they offer, and it's pretty amazing. Um, so I had breast cancer first, and I just wanted to do a design to just because being an artist and doing artwork, you end up drawing what your life is all about. My life is so joyful all the time, even through cancer. It was I just knew I would be okay, and with all the care that I was receiving and all the love that I was receiving through my shop, it was pretty incredible. So this painting is at the breast mammogram center. So I hope y'all are getting your mammograms. It's very important. So that's there, and I'm honored that it's there. Then I was diagnosed with cancer again, with uterine cancer, and it's like, pardon the expression, but shit, man, that was a bummer. It was 5 years on Friday. It was a Friday. I got my 5 year gold star for being cancer free. And then thank you. Well, that was a while ago on that Friday, and that was worth clapping. And then the following Monday, I get a phone call saying, "Well, through all those films, we saw something else." And so I was really bummed. I'll admit it. I was kind of that took it out of me. But as I was I like to go through the internet like all of us do. I saw this dog that jumps on the back of this elephant and gets his ride across the troubled waters all the time. I mean, this is an actual dog somewhere in, I don't even know where they are. I don't even remember. But I thought, oh my God, that is me and going through troubled waters with the Holland community. So you guys are the elephant. So this was my drawing to introduce to my everybody that I did have cancer again. And both times were stage 3, so both times were pretty scary. But I am here. I don't have anything inside of me. They have removed everything except the weight. I still have the weight. I don't understand that whole thing. But so then when I was totally cancer free again, and they said, "You're good to go," I wanted to draw something to express just my gratitude and my joy. So this is it. Um, so so if you know me, you know that I'm an emotional wreck. All not because of sadness, but because of joy. I know that's weird. So this is called Walking on Sunshine. So I introduced this just to tell everybody I was going to be fine. But I'm more of a blue person. So I did this shortly after, and this is called Walking on Moonshine. So however you want to interpret that. Um, um, but but this is my Walking on Moonshine. And then I was trying to figure out, everyone always asked me to do lighthouses, and I love lighthouses. So I decided to do a calendar this year. We make around 300 calendars. I end up giving around 150 of them away. And we don't sell very many calendars, but if I miss a year of calendars, everyone comes and they're all upset that I miss a year. It's like, that just doesn't make sense, but it's those 150 people that are upset. So I decided to do a lighthouse calendar, and we did like, I think we did 600 because we thought this might be kind of popular. I was instructed by my business manager not to give one away. I didn't. And we sold all 600 immediately. And now people are still asking for more. So it's just, I guess, the topic. But I have to tell you, I'm in a bunco group, and they were expecting their calendars. and yes, and I'm in like my Black River group, and they're like, so I didn't, I one of my friends came into the studio, and she was with her other friends. And they were buying calendars, and she said, I don't need to buy one. I'm getting one because I'm in her bunco group. And the person working said, you might want to buy one. And she said, nope, nope. She always gives hers. And it's like, and I didn't know this was happening. She's in the store, my store person said, you really should buy a calendar if you want one. She didn't. Bunko came. I did not have them. And she was out of luck. I feel so bad. But anyway, so here are just some of my you can draw a lighthouse like everybody else draws a lighthouse, but I love to add that extra little touch. This is what I imagine being inside the light and looking out and all of the reflections and all that. So this is Point Betsy. This was Big Sable, I think, or Little Sable. I get them mixed up. This is Point Betsy. This is Grand Haven. So, and this is up in Traverse City, which I do love Michigan. So yeah, that's this old Mission Point in Traverse City. And then I was telling a few people about drawing this calendar, and they said, well, you've got to put the Edmund Fitzgerald in November because of the song from Gordon Lightfoot. And so that is Whitefish Point. Yeah, have you ever been there? That is like a very eerie, very beautiful place. It's very cool. It's very cool. So what I'm doing lately is I've gone back to my beginnings, basically. I've been gone back to black and white, not my other art, but this art. Uh, I saw all of those houses being burnt down. And we're pretty fortunate here in West Michigan with, the lake protects us from a lot of all the stuff going on. And so I feel like I need to help somehow. And, but who knows, I don't have the financial means to help, but you can do so many other things. And, so I was trying to figure out, that would be cool to draw houses, but I didn't know how to do it. And all of a sudden, as God always does, he sends down a message. This time it was through NBC National News. And it was Asher Bingham was this illustrator, this artist, who lives between the two fires. She lives in LA, but she's between the two fires. And so her story is that she was invited to one of her friend's wedding, she and her husband, and it's a destination wedding. She has two little kids. And so she decided to stay back. She didn't want to take the kids, and her husband went to the wedding. Well, there was fire threats all around, but they say, just like we do with the snow, they get fire threats all the time. They listen to some of them, they don't listen to others. The bride and groom, of course, went to their wedding. So she got a call, though, from the bride saying that she thinks the fire is getting awfully close to their home. They left their two cats in their house. Can you go get the cats? So she put her two kids in her car, drove, and she said there was fire all around. I don't know what she was thinking with her two kids, but she got the cats. got them back to her house, and that house burnt down overnight. So then the bride and groom were away, of course. So as a gift to them, she thought she took a quick picture of their home while she was there, and she drew their home as a gift to them because they had no pictures of their home, and because they all burned down. And she gave that to them, and then she did it to a couple other friends, and they all were so grateful. And their neighbors started calling her. So then they said, you should probably put this on Instagram if you want to get, to do some houses. And so she put it on Instagram, and it was on the NBC News, and she got 1,300 requests for homes. And so I saw her, and so I took that Instagram and sent her a note saying, hey, I don't have a home, but I know how to draw homes and I can help you if you'd like. And so I am one of, at the moment, 13 illustrators around the country drawing for her and drawing these homes. And it's just been an absolute joy. So a lot of people don't have pictures of their homes. So, the MLS, remember putting your homes on MLS? We're finding them on their MLS listings on Google Maps. There's pictures of everybody's home. And so I've done 68 of them now. I had to finish that book first, so I couldn't do these, but now I'm totally focused on them. And so these are some more. And so this is my favorite so far. One of the young couples who lost their home, their little girl lost her home too, her little teeny home in the back. So they asked me to draw her home too. So they must have had it on this rug that was really, really cool, contrasting to everything else. So anyway, these are some tulips, and I was going to, we were going to draw some tulips, but we have a half hour. And I was going to ask if anybody has any questions, and then we're going to switch and we're going to draw big red actually, because we have time to do that. Oh my gosh, don't panic. Don't panic. Remain calm. First, I'll ask you a question. Do you know how to draw a rectangle? Yes, thank you. Do you know how to draw a circle? It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, an oval, a square. Okay, then we're good to go. A triangle. Okay, then we're good to go. So, but do you have any questions before we switch over to our art lesson? Oh, yes, back there.
For media, for painting, if you're going to capture something outdoors, which one is easier to make it look like a photo? Watercolor, the kind of paint you use, oil-based?
That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest with you. It depends on, you mean to make it look as real as like a photograph? I guess probably not watercolor, or because that all had the in gouache. I would say probably oils would probably be the best to actually get, because every realism painting I've seen have all been oils. I've never worked with oils that much before, but I think that would be the medium to use for that. Definitely not something like this, because you still have that that painting look, I'm afraid. So, yeah. Yes.
Carolyn, that last picture you looked at with the dog, the fur.
Yes.
The way you draw that is one of my favorite things of yours, and I guess it's very unique to me anyway. So, I'm just curious, how did you develop that?
Well,
the zebra stripes.
yeah, that's a good question. So all through my schooling, the instructors all said, you have to develop your own style. You have to develop your own style. And I thought, how in the world do you develop your own style? I have no idea. That was a big thing that they said. And so I didn't realize I was developing my own style. And my own style is developed only because I cannot do it the way that everybody else does it. So I just take my paintbrush and try to do a drawing of a dog or something regularly, and it just never looked right. It looked like an amateur painting. And I thought, and I also wanted to mess with color, because I love color. And so there is like the one with the dog, the hair, and the hair is all different colors. And I just started drawing the hairs individually. I don't know why, but it just, and then it seemed to like really work for, also with water. I cannot paint water like everyone else does. And it's like, okay, how do I fix that? And I don't know if you noticed, but also with the lines, when I was out on a boat, if you really look at the water, and if the water is moving, it looks like lines to me, and it looks like different colors. It's like, I'll just draw it with lines. And so I don't know too many other people, but that's kind of, it's all been a big ol' accident, honestly, and I'm grateful for it.
How do you want to set your paper up, Carolyn?
Well, actually, for this one, we're going to do the PowerPoint, and we're not
Okay.
going to do the drawing.
good.
That's all right.
Now that's back, another PowerPoint is in the file, right?
And another PowerPoint is
Big
there,
red PowerPoint?
big red PowerPoint. Are we all nervous? Good. No, I'm just kidding. Now, this is gonna go super cool. I'm excited for y'all. We have pencils, brand new pencils at the end of your table if anybody wants to use them. So, and they have erasers, even though we aren't going to be needing the erasers. And I hope those of you at home, I hope you're joining us. You're grabbing a piece of paper, and you don't have to be here to do this, and grabbing a pencil. So, like I said, I don't even know if I did say it, but I'm saying it now. Most everything that we draw is made out of shapes. If you know your shapes, you know how to draw. So, and I do also want to tell you that I failed art 1st through 6th grade. Every report card that I had unsatisfactory or had a big ol' F on it. And I don't know why. I just could not, and that's all I wanted to be as a kid. And so it was actually a little upsetting, but I don't know how to do anything else. This was what I was meant to be. Even my kids would always say their mother was the only mother in town who knew how to draw a pot roast, but had no idea how to cook one. And they are absolutely right about that. So I have been put on this planet to do one thing. And, but my parents were so supportive. Both of them are gone now, but they were so supportive. And when my first children's book came out that I illustrated, my dad framed the cover of my children's book with one of my report cards that said unsatisfactory. And so that, parenting, I just think that they were the ones who got me where I am, even though they've both been gone for a very long time, but I think they're still with me. So anyway, this is what we're going to do. We all know our shapes. We're all ready, right? Okay, so the one thing that I would like you to do is get your paper. So this is hot dog. No, this is a bathtub. This is shower. So I all want you to do shower, which is vertical. This is horizontal, but we want to go shower, which is vertical. So are you ready? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So it looks like it's vertical in maybe here. I'm going to just draw it because I don't know about the folks at home, but I can't do both of these at the same time. So I want you to draw your rectangle towards the bottom of your paper. Don't worry about it being straight. Don't worry about straight lines, but just kind of like this. And I know sadly the folks at home, I don't think you can see this, but, oh. Okay. Perfect. Because I know we can't do both of these. Now look it. You're almost done. Can't you see it? It's perfect. Okay, so the next thing we're drawing is our triangles. So you see our triangles are above, they're kind of floating above our rectangle. They're not touching, but they're floating above our rectangle. One on one side, one on the other side. It's all right if you take them off to the side, you know, off, a little off to the side of both sides, if that makes sense. So you have your two rectangles or triangles. You are going to blow your own mind with this. Are you ready?
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Okay, everybody get your triangles. Okay. So if you notice, we have one line right here. We're gonna draw that line that's kind of goes along this line. See? Okay, that was fast. Oh my goodness, we can do this, remain calm. We're gonna do all 4 lines. I see how you are impressed with yourself right now. I tell you, drawing is easy if you break it down to shapes. So everybody have those? Okay, next line, across the top. That's the roof line across the top. Easy peasy. Okay, so this is, can you see what we did? So we took, if you notice, we took the line, I hope y'all have a good eraser. This is the only time you'll need it, but we have brand new erasers at the end of the tables if anybody needs one. But we're gonna take that line out of both of them. You see that? We're just going to erase the line right there. We're going to take that out. Here, do you want, here's a, there you go. Everybody have an eraser? It's easy. Next thing you know, y'all are gonna have a studio right next to me downtown. Okay, oh, I see what we did. Okay, so we're going to put the little fancy here. We're doing that little arrow right under the bigger arrow. Does that make sense? This little arrow right here. So, well, it's, yeah, or that upside down V right there. An upside down V. And as always, we're gonna do 2 of them on both. Okay, everybody breathing? I don't hear a lot of breathing going on. Yeah, I think it's all good. The deal with artwork, and let me tell you what we all know, is you never tell anybody what you are going to draw. Okay, never, that's the #1 rule in art. Because what you're going to draw, what you think you're going to draw, and what actually turns out on your paper is totally different. Even right now with me, I'll start something and it's totally different than what I had planned. And then the golden rule is whatever you end up with, that is what you always plan to draw. So that is the rule. No one knows what it was supposed to look like, so run with whatever you end up with. If it's abstract, those artists make a lot more money than I do. So just own whatever you end up with, and that is your piece. So, okay, now we're gonna draw those really cool windows. So if you notice right here, you go up and then you turn around and you come, this is too tall for me, but you come up and then you come back down. Does that make sense? And guess what? You do the same thing. It's an upside down U. Yes. A narrow and long U. So you do that in both, I don't know what these are called. Gables? I don't know.
Yep.
Gable, yes. I have my architect friend here. So, okay, you ready? Everybody keeping up? So, if you notice, we added a rectangle right here. Do you notice that? And I don't know if you remember those, if you're thinking Big Red, this is what those windows look like. So you do a rectangle over your upside down U. And of course you do two. Doing good, doing good. So, okay. Oh, this is just a little detail, just your little, oh, I don't know what you call this. But it's the little rectangle there, your gutter, I guess. I imagine they don't have a lot of leaves in that gutter out there. So, okay, so this is when it gets looking more like Big Red. We do a rectangle on the one side going up and then coming back down. Over the one window, our gable right there. I forgot there's two over here, but you guys are, I mean, there's one over here too. You're doing good?
We don't have to come up and you're not going to critique him.
Absolutely. I've got my red pen right here.
Have fun.
You know what, I am a true believer after failing art multiple times and even past sixth grade, that art is an interpretation and it should never be graded. I mean, especially from children. So I just did this with kindergarten and first graders and all of them at Jefferson Elementary last Friday. And they were so excited about their drawings and no one should ever take that away from them. So, because they were great. Okay, so if you notice on top of your rectangle, we're gonna do a little square. And doesn't have to be a perfect square. So, and then on top of our square, we add a triangle. Are you amazed that it really is all shapes? You just really look at life and it's all shapes. So that shape lesson that we had when we were in kindergarten was very important. Very important. Okay, and on top is a cherry. There is actually a round ball on top. So now we come back down and we do our details. I don't know what our detail is there, but, oh, we're gonna move to the next one. Okay. Was there another line? Under the square. Start with a shape. Oh, hold on, let's click back. Oh, well, the next one, yes, that line. Yes. Yeah, so there's a line under that. Good call, everyone. I was just testing you. And you all passed.
Yay!
Yay! And I know you all at home are doing yours and they look fabulous as well. So, okay. Oh, we have a window up there, just a square. I don't know who really looks out that window. I think it's a vent, to be honest with you. But then to make it look more like a window and more accurate, we kind of do the those little square inside that square. Okay. So now, this is a little thing about Big Red. And I think you guys had a lesson on Big Red recently. But on one side of Big Red, on the opposite side of Big Red of where the state park is, there are 4 windows across. But on the state park side, there's only 2 windows. So you can choose if you want 4 windows or 2 windows. But this is your big red, so you could put 27 windows if you want. No one's gonna question. So if you want 4 windows, if you want 2 windows, it is, it's your choice. So as you're doing your windows, you wanna do the little square inside. Isn't this fun? I mean, look at your big red that you're drawing. Very, very cool. So the one thing about big red is you have your circles, you have your actually ship, kind of like a ship window. You want to do a circle here, and there are 2 circles down there. And I think there are 2 circles on both sides of it. So just like your square windows, you want to add the little circle inside. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's good. You know, there are some cultures that purposely make mistake in their artwork because the only person who does, or the only being that does perfect art is God. So there is no perfect art. And when you're looking to buy a hand-painted something, you always look at the character, which are the flaws in it. Then you can tell it's not computer made. So as you look back here, we kind of look like a rocket, like we could fly through the air because we are not grounded. So you want to add just the little line right here, just to put the pier here. And then if you want to, you can put a little sand dune, give a little distance, a little depth. You can just wiggle that line down. And then add the water. The water is a wiggle line across. Art is not much different than what we learned in 5th grade is what we do at the age of 60, so. The one other thing to add, this is your horizon line. Your horizon line where your sky meets the water, where your sky meets the ground. This is sky meeting Lake Michigan. So you want to do that. I don't know, let's see, what else am I adding there?
Some lines up.
Oh, yes, look at that. You're so good, thank you. Up there, on where the light goes, where the big light goes, you want to add a line there. You want to add actually the little things that are keeping the roof on top there. Can everybody see that? And then you put the light up there, the little circle. Up in yeah, way up here, I don't have well, actually I do have this, guys at home can't see it, but isn't this fun? So we have the 3 lines and then you have the light up there. The folks at home can't see that though.
If you point with your hand, you have to see that from the camera.
Okay, I just can't reach it, but see way up there at the top, right under our top triangle is where we're drawing. So, oh, and then if you want to add some grass, you want to just do a whole bunch of grass like this, go in front of Big Red, just swoosh it on. You don't have to do that, but if you want to add grass. And if you want to add a sun or a moon. If you want it to be sunshine or moonshine. And if you want to color in the roof, that would be black, but that would be just your pencil. Look at how beautiful this is. Oops, sorry. You are doing creative things. Look at you. Oh, nice. They said they did this with their granddaughter. So yes. Okay, so we're almost done with time here. But you can color in the windows if you'd like. So the other thing you can do, and this is what I do with kids, is you can put this is where you can step up with your imagination. You can put sharks in the water. You could put a big ship in the background. You could put yourself fishing off the pier. You could put a parasailer coming down, or aliens taking over Big Red. And doesn't have to be big red in your artwork. It can be big purple. It could be big green. So it could be big blue. And a piece of toast. Oh, it sure did. Oh, that's all right. Peg's got a piece of toast. You know what? That is hard to make, a piece of toast, and make it look good. So I think that's the end of, but I just want you to just take a moment, sign your name. You could CRSTICH, because I would be very proud to have any one of these.
You haven't seen them yet.
I can see it from up here. I can see yours. It's very cool. I do have, and I forgot to mention this, if ever you come to paint with me, and I hope you do, I paint every month in my studio with everyone. I have one rule in my studio. And my one rule is you have to be kind to yourself while you are with me. We are so hard on ourselves all the time. You are doing something, I draw 8 to 10 hours a day. I imagine you don't do that. So this is something that you don't do often. I applaud your courage for doing it. So do not say anything bad about your own artwork or yourself or anything for the 2 hours. Now, of course, you can trash your neighbors, but I would not suggest that because you're sitting awfully close. But we're so hard on ourselves, and we got to learn to be kinder to ourselves, which makes us kinder to everybody else. So anyway, I thank you so much for allowing me to come and be here. Thank you.
Carolyn, this was a delight. I'm watching everybody smile and love you besides your artwork. I have just one comment for you to take away from today besides, the fact that we love you. When you said gouache, and not very many people knew about gouache.
Gouache,
Yeah,
yes.
I took my art lesson when I was introduced to gouache in England, and they say gouache.
Oh, interesting, gouache.
Gouache. So
Well,
there you are, new word.
You were absolutely right. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I have no idea. I pronounce, yeah, but gouache, I kind of like that. Yeah, that seems that would come with a nice piece of bread to go with it, your toast. Yeah. But, anyway, my studio's downtown next to Cherry Republic, so please come and say hello. I love folks, a lot of you guys already stop by and say hello, my sweet friends. And I do painting once a month there. Next one is April 26th, we have a painting event then. And also at the Arts Council, we just had our every first Tuesday, we have a plus 50s art class with me. And it's free at the Arts Council, so it's every first Tuesday of every month at 11 o'clock. But you do have to register because it's sold out all the time, so you do have to call ahead. But we do all kinds of stuff, so, and they are always amazed with what they can do, which you guys look at. So yeah, so take this home and color it, and yes.
Thank you, Carolyn. Let's hear for Carolyn. You need to announce there's